I love the way the First Gen Lounge makes me feel.
Because it creates a space where I belong, where we're able to create community.
The fact that it's a community.
It's a safe place.
It also gives me a place to understand different perspectives.
The stories of these individuals prescribe transformational perspective.
I receive encouragement, enlightenment, empowerment.
And also serve as a catalyst to just keep going.
Where we're able to be our true selves.
I'm allowed to be an unapologetic first gen.
And above all else, tell our story.
And every episode is unique.
I love it.
I'm your host, Dr. Eve, and I'd like to welcome you to the First Gen Lounge. Oh my goodness gracious. Can you even believe? Can you believe it has been 3 years since the Purpose University podcast became the First Gen Lounge? You know, if I haven't done anything else right with this show, I'm going to tell you, listening and leaning in to the First Gen Lounge has absolutely been a game changer. So hello to you, wherever you may be in the world. I just want to thank you because I am so thrilled. I just said 3 years. And mind you, the podcast was already going before, September 2018, so it was already in motion. So just thank you for being with me, for growing with me. I really can't still believe it. 3 years? Whew, man. And to think, podcasting for me is a journey that actually started in January of 2017 on my birthday, actually. Sitting in the parking lot of my apartment complex, just saying, I'm just going to do it. And here we are, 3 years later, 183 episodes, over 100 guests interviewed, 100 relationships, connections made with beautiful, beautiful people literally across the globe, right? And we are just about to break, at the moment of this, the 100,000 download mark. Now, I was hoping that we actually got there before then, but I understand we just gonna let, Rona have it, because things and change. But really, just please hear me when I say I could not be more grateful. I really could not be more grateful. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for telling your friends, for telling your students, for just listening to this yourself, for being on the mailing list to get all the updates, for showing up to the Instagram lives, all the things, the Clubhouse, the Facebook, whatever it may be. Just goodness, I just thank you. Statistically, most podcasts don't make it past 3 months because of the work that's required to have a successful show. And I taught this in my podcast class that I actually had at the time of this about a year ago. And essentially, people are so excited about having shows, and everybody wants to just throw a podcast up, but thinking about content and thinking about interview style and the time it takes to edit, because I outsourced that a while ago. But the time it takes to edit and just some of the legal things that go behind having a show, when it's not just a show that you're doing as a hobby. And a lot of people do this as a hobby. And this for me was an outlet, right? To not only share my voice and my thoughts, but to help uplift others who are first generation college graduates, but to also be able to pour into those who are on their way to being first generation college graduates, right? To help prepare for those moments thereafter. So again, I just say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And it's even funny because I was looking back at the shows, and 2 years ago, I had made a show about pray for days like this. Oh my goodness, if I did that show right now, which I'm not going to do right now, but if I did a part 3 or an update, even thinking about where I was then and where I am now, I prayed for days like the ones I had then, but the ones I have now, my gosh, I can't tell you that, if the prayers keep manifesting, right? Goodness gracious, I can't imagine where we'll be this time next year, 5 years from now, right? So just, wow, just blown away. And I'll share this with you as well, because mind you, this is a show that I'm just like, we just need to have a heart to heart, right? Let's just catch up. But I'm gonna drop some gems on you today. I'm gonna give you a few nuggets, because I do have I got something, so don't even play. So just in the spirit of gratitude, I do want to remind you in your journey to be grateful always, because even where I was 2 years ago was hardly where I wanted to be, and not even close to where I am now. But I'm so grateful. And remembering that even through your adversities and your hardships, to hold on to what you believe in and to stay focused on what you're after, because at the end of the day, what matters most, right, is that you are the one who's bringing life to your dream, whatever that may be, that you're bringing life to any of the situations that are around you. And if there are things that are holding you down, that you let those things go. But I'm just like, wow, right? How many times have I been rejected for opportunities? How many times have things with guests not work out? And there's so many things that I think about just in being grateful, right? And in gratitude. Just remember to focus on the things that work out and don't put so much emphasis on what's not working out. Like, yes, learn from things that don't work, but really lean into what's good and what's right and what's well. I'll say that, because what you think about most, right? What you focus on most are the things that you will see show up most in your life. So if something isn't ever working out and all the time, and you're like, it never works out, well, you keep saying it never works out. So if you don't change that expectation, it won't, and it can't, because it's what you're speaking over yourself. But really, for me and where I am right now, right, I'm just in wow. But even that I got on expectations, I want to go there for just a second. The other day I did a random unplanned live. Your girl been getting on the videos on Instagram. You should be proud. You should be proud, because I love being behind this mic, but I decided to really step outside of my comfort zone. Like, how can I continue to push you to step outside of your comfort zone and I'm not stepping outside of my own? And what I found myself doing was this conversation that turned into a whole half an hour. I can talk. I just accepted about myself. I can really talk. But in this conversation, what I found myself focused on was why you should expect more from yourself. And even when I think about the show and what's come of it, right? What's become of my business 2 years ago, not even a thought about a second journal, yet alone a third journal. We're not, even there. And now I've got not only a book, but 2 journals. And if you haven't checked them out yet, I don't know why you're playing. Let me just go ahead and say that now. To have a store, to have opened the first store for first generation college students and graduates across the globe. My goodness. Okay. Something that 2 years ago wasn't even a thought or something that was in mind. To have gone from 2 years ago hoping that I would be international, and I wrote it on an affirmation board that I have, that by 2020 or sometime in 2020 in the future, I will have an internationally, known name for being a speaker. And will you believe, a year from when I had actually done that manifestation? Let's go back to September of 2019 is when I did it. September of 2020, on, like I say, 2 days before or after, give or take, of me having written that, I had gotten on my first international stage. Virtual, but it counts, right? But even so, I have done now multiple events for individuals across the seas, because the timing has been right, but because I also said I was going to make it happen. And I'll say this to you too. How it happens may not be what you imagine, but it's the fact that it does happen, whatever that thing is that you want to happen. So keep your eyes open, right? Keep your heart open, keep your mind open to what you're bringing into your life, because it'll happen. And sometimes there's probably things that have already happened that you've missed because you wanted it or expected it one way, but it showed up in another. Okay. But back to expectations. I want you, and where I am right now in the spirit of gratitude, because I have been so busy working, right, and doing things and getting ready for launches with the store. Just brought in a new team, right? So exciting, right? Come on, 2 years ago, I didn't even have any help. It was me doing everything but, the podcast editing. And now I have a team. Like, I even went to having an assistant to like having a full team of individuals that are here to help me in every sense of the way. And I'm just kind of like, what? But continue to expect great things for yourself. That's what I really want to tap into today and reiterate, like I did the other day with the live that I had. And by the way, go check that out. Just go check it out. But to be more focused in the expecting more from yourself, here are 3 reasons why you should expect more from and or of yourself, right? Expect more, because 1, your life literally depends on you expecting more for yourself. More than anybody else, your life is what you make it. And people are going to care, but they're only going to care as far as it concerns them. So whatever you desire for you, I want you to focus on you and do that, right? Lean into that, embrace that, love on that, right? Manifest that, because your life, the quality of it, how you feel about it is on you. It literally depends on you. And while it feels like such a great responsibility and oh my gosh, this is so much, here's the thing. In everything you do, you get to choose what things feel like and look like to you. You choose how you respond to those things. So you can keep looking at life. And again, like I was saying earlier, the challenges and the failures are the things that don't work out. And you can look at your life and say, yo, I'm bad. I'm resilient. I'm amazing like that. Like, I'm nice like that. And while these things will come, there's nothing I can't get through, right? There's nothing that comes up that will get in my way or keep me down long, because I got this. And because what becomes of my life depends on me, not only will I face things that may not feel so good and be so exciting, but I'm also responsible for the joy in my life. So as you may count your losses, my hope for you is that you count your wins just as much, because you're responsible for that too. And I was telling one of my line sisters not too long ago that far too often when we hear responsibility, we lean into all the things that responsibilities are associated with, and that's things that so that we don't fail, right? So that we aren't in a bad situation. But really, responsibility is really, like, to me, embedded in not just those things that are difficult or challenging, but the things that are good. And we should own them both the same and celebrate them both the same. So therefore, when we hear responsibility, it doesn't seem like so much like a burden or so much like if I don't do this, or if I don't do this. So really leaning into that, because again, 1, expecting more for yourself is meaning that your life literally depends on it. And you can have an exciting, robust, loving, fulfilling life. Like, you can have what you want. And I've said this in the video, and I'm just going to say it here again, that just because you are first generation does not mean something is wrong with you. And it does not mean that you are less deserving of a good life than anybody else, okay? Sit with that. Number 2, I need you to know that you are more powerful than you think. I don't know what's been happening in my life in the past year, especially. It may be therapy, because your girl got a dope therapist. Let me tell you. All right? Amazing. But for what it's worth, though, I will say that when I have learned, or as I have learned, to tap into myself and to trust myself and my intuition and my decisions, and to know that even when I don't feel like I know what I'm doing, I at least have to try. I'm starting to see how things have shifted in my life and how they will continue to shift in my life. And the more I make difficult decisions, the more I do scary things, the more I realize my power. So I'm telling you that because, again, association, when we think about power, that word power and powerful, sometimes we associate with things like leadership. And we think of people who use power for things that are negative, or we think power means disrespectful, or power means she's a bitch, all that. But no. Powerful, right? Powerful, meaning like you can take that mustard seed and move a mountain, right? Because you know within you that you have what it takes to go hard, to go long, to go far, right? And powerful, meaning that, again, you can shift the perspective, you can meditate, you can pray, you can write it all out, and make things in your life happen that may seem impossible. So maybe even like thinking about what I'm sharing with you is switching the perspective on how you see things, right? In your life, responsibility and powerful. Like even I talked about responsibility a few minutes ago, right? Rethinking what it means to be responsible and embracing it as something good, just as powerful. Powerful doesn't mean that everybody even has to know that you're powerful. You know you're powerful. You know that you're powerful. I'm gonna say it again. You know that you're powerful. And that's all that matters, because power isn't something that necessarily has to be everybody's business. But you see what's happening in your life. You seeing how things are shifting. You seeing the love that's coming around. You know, you seeing the stuff that's happening with your job that you like, I'm up in here. Like, you are powerful because you set the tone and making those things happen, right, for yourself. And nothing stood in the way of that. So again, you are more powerful than you think. But here's the other thing I want to add to that I want you to sit with. What does power look like to you, and how does it feel to you to be powerful? Because I'm okay now with saying that I'm powerful. I'm okay with saying that because I know what it means to me. And I know that even in me being powerful, it has nothing to do with anybody else and their ideas of powerful or what it means to move mountains, because I've seen how I've moved mountains in my life, right? So you are more powerful than you think. And I want you to own that so that you can step up and rise to the occasion of those things in your life that maybe you're sleeping on your cell phone, right? Maybe you're sleeping on your cell phone, because I see you, boo. Now, the third thing, and the thing that may not be the most comfortable thing to say, but I'm here because I'm your sister, right? I'm your friend, I'm your mentor, I'm your cousin, whatever you done made me in your head, right? Whatever we done talked about in person, on internet, whatever, right? I'm somebody who's in your corner. So I'm going to say this to you because I know that it's my place to be able to share what I learned with you so that we can be on accord and continue to make the most out of this thing we call life. But no one is going to save you. And this is why you should expect more of yourself, because no one is going to save you. They're not. And if I'm speaking in truthfulness, I have spent some part of my life waiting for somebody to make it better or help make it better or to just help me get a damn break. Need a damn break. And I know what it's like. Even as, you know, we talk about me being an entrepreneur and where I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's like, do you hear how many years I'm counting? And I'm just going to count them up, because you could have never convinced me that I would have gotten this far, because I was only expecting to take off a year and I was going to go back to work and figure it out, right? I guess I figured it out, right? But I would say this though, even in me taking that sabbatical, that's what I was calling myself, on my own sabbatical, I found myself in a space where, hey, nobody was going to make it better for me but me. When I was in these toxic work environments, when I was in a place where I was not healed, I was not well, and I knew I needed something different, I couldn't wait for somebody to tell me that I needed something different. Although I will say, I'm gonna give a little credit. I had a therapist then, and she said something to me one day that I'd never forget. She said something about job security. We were talking about, because I know this was the turning point for me. And she said, can you ever fire yourself? And I said, huh? She said, can you ever fire yourself? She was like, the difference between people who are employees and people who are entrepreneurs is even in being able to choose how you get to show up. She was like, now, yeah, things cannot work out in your business or as an entrepreneur. And granted, I wasn't even thinking about entrepreneurship at the time. I was just having conversations with her about her life and her decisions, right? But anyway, she was like, but as an entrepreneur, she's like, can you fire yourself? She was like, do you have more job security as an entrepreneur or as an employee? She's like, because any day, she said, you can be doing a perfect job and they decide they're going to do budget cuts and then you're cut. She said, so then where do you have security, working for yourself or working for somebody else? And I said, damn, that's a good question. And when she asked me that, again, I hadn't even thought about starting a business on my own. I did play around with the idea of speaking, but I'll be honest, and I've been honest with you about this before, I did not see speaking as the entrepreneur thing. Don't ask me why. I ain't know no better. That's just what it boils down to. I ain't know no better. But I will say that stuck with me, and realizing that while if you start a nonprofit or start a company, you know, you could get fired in situations where, of course, there's more than you, but can you ever fire yourself is essentially the premise, right? Where do you have more security? And something about that made me feel like perhaps, you know, there was security and work for myself one day. Who would have thought that one day would have been like 3 or 4 months later? But I mean, here we are, you know, from that to over 5 years later, over 5.5 years. So, you know, I'm just going to say amen. That's what I'm going to say to amen. But again, because no one's going to save you at any turn, at any given point, in any situation, it's for you to decide what you want for yourself. Going back to what I said initially, right? Your life literally depends on it. But because no one is going to save you, it's not about killing any of your dreams or aspirations, but more so giving you the perspective of you can be, will be, and should be the superhero of your own story. That's really what it boils down to. And I know a couple of years ago, I may have said that about myself to a mentor. I said, I realized I finally have to be the hero of my own story, because there is no knight in shining armor. There is no Superman, Wonder Woman, Black Panther. Like, for me, that's going to have to be me for me. Now, don't get me wrong. I got a king. Y'all know about this. I have a king, but at the end of the day, still, it's not his responsibility. Let me drop this on you. It's not his responsibility to fix me or save me. That's for me to do for myself. Because since we're here tangent, sometimes when we wait for other people to save us, especially in relationships, we give them power over us and we release that. But then I just tell you that you're more powerful than you think, but yet sometimes relationships, letting other people be more powerful and save you, leaves you feeling helpless when things don't work out. Oh, okay. We're going to do that in another show, promise. But I will go back and saying that no one's going to save you. And while I know that it may not feel exciting, here's what's exciting. Because when history is made about your life, what can be said is that you were the one who did it for yourself, like you're doing now. That's the other spin to it. Don't you just love it? I tell you, you're brilliant, you're amazing, you're wonderful, and I love you in all your ways. So with that, I do not mean to keep you very long. I never do. I just want to come in here and, pew, 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 give you a little bit and keep it moving. But again, I'm just going to go back to saying how grateful I am to have you, right? How grateful I am that you riding with your girl till the wheel fall off, right? I don't know when I'll ever end this show, right? Because I'm thinking about 3 years, like, dang, you ain't tired yet? Nope. I'm going to keep going. Because I know people who have like 900, 800, 1,000 something episodes of their show. But until I feel otherwise, we gonna be here, right? And I'm gonna keep bringing you goodness from people who have been through things that you have been through. And I want to keep sharing with you. And I want to keep helping you figure out this journey called life, right? And be here to continue to push you forward in all that you do. And the thing I ask is that you just continue to share, like with friends, right? That you tell somebody so that we can continue to help each other, because we got. And even before I wrap up, before I have to be like, dang, I can't believe you did that. Your girl, I told you earlier, I have launched this store, the First Gen Shop. And I would be honored if you would go check it out and support, okay? I got a little something there for everybody. And we're just going to keep growing it, and serving and empowering through this and making you feel like everything you should feel. And that is amazing, right? Adding to that, contributing to that, because you deserve it. You deserve it. I absolutely believe it. And I want you to believe it in your hearts too. So yeah, so go check it out. The First Gen Shop. There is a link to it in the show notes. So go and click that link. And then click the other link to get something you want. Then fill your cart. Then click that link. Then place the order. All that. But you are amazing. You are amazing. You're amazing. And again, expect more from yourself, because your life literally depends on it. You are more powerful than you think, and no one is going to save you. But in the end, it's all good, right? It's all good. All right, my love. Keep pressing forward, always and forever. Peace.